Overpopulation and urbanization. Overpopulation and urbanization is a huge concern that is creating problems all around the world. As a matter of fact, it is one of the world's most pressing environmental issues. Overpopulation is the leading cause of hunger, animal extinction, climate change, and many other social issues around the world. The world's population is around 7.3 billion, and that is expected to be around 9 billion before the year 2050. Urban expansion is one of the consequences of increasing population growth. The urban population is expected to grow significantly in the coming years, while rural populations are predicted to decline. The urban expansion will take close to 19 million acres of farmland and forest lands that will never be able to be recovered. So what will the effects of human overpopulation be in the coming years? Dr. Martin Luther King wrote, "Like plagues of the dark ages or contemporary diseases we do not understand, the modern plagues of overpopulation is solvable by means we have discovered and with resources we possess. What is lacking is not sufficient knowledge of the solution, but universal conscientiousness of the gravity of the problem and education of the billions who are victims." In the United States, we have about 8,000 people added daily through birth and immigration. Many places like California, Las Vegas, and Denver, Colorado are already suffering from water issues and river disputes. So, did Dr. King get it right? Will overpopulation be the United States plague of the 21st century? We must prevent human tragedy rather than run around trying to save ourselves after an event has already occurred. These were the words spoken by Eleanor Roosevelt over 50 years ago. Just what are we facing in the coming years? With each new person added, farms have to plow 12 acres to support one human. In the next 10 years, according to the National Academy of Science, over 2,000 animals and plants native to the United States will become extinct because of destruction of their habitat, because of population increases and urban developments. Many scientists are even predicting the Earth's sixth mass extinction, with nearly 50% of all species disappearing. By 2025, we will be facing freshwater losses for more than half the world's population, and by 2030, the world will be having acute water shortages. Today, most of our fresh water is unreachable or too polluted to even use. When cities alter water sources, stormwater infrastructures often do not separate storm runoff. This in turn causes the city's wastewater to end up polluting our waterways. Studies show that city dwellers emit significantly more emissions than their counterparts in rural areas. Cities create almost 80% of greenhouse gases, as noted by the U.S.-based Clinton Climate Initiative. One explanation is the urban heat island effect. Rural areas have lower air and surface temperatures because of their landscapes of trees and grass. High-rise buildings tend to trap in heat because the land is covered with asphalt surfaces that are impervious to water. What other issues do we see with overpopulation and urban areas growing? Less freedom, perhaps? As we have increases in population in smaller areas, there will be greater needs for social mediators. When you put large numbers of people from different social classes, different religions, different cultures inside city walls, then they will require more rules and regulations. The military is already looking at this possibility as they realize that more than half the world's population lives in urban areas, and that number is only going to go up. The U.S. military has spent a decade fighting in Baghdad, and that city only has a population of 6 million. So in less than another decade, there will be almost 37 cities that are 2 to 4 times the size of Baghdad. Seoul, Korea is 24 million people, and with the U.S. already having tensions with North Korea, it is something the military is forced to look at. Overpopulation drives up resources and basic necessities to become more scarcer for the lower class living in slum areas and urban cities. This in turn causes the crime rate to increase in these areas. Big urban cities are hubs for gangs, terrorists, and drug trade because with so many people, they can largely go unnoticed and they can recruit in these areas. Scientists can't predict what the future will look like, but they don't argue that the impact of population growth can't be ignored.